think back in 2003 we come together as a brand new team. I'd recently been appointed as the Chief Executive Officer of the organisation, and we built a new team. Grant was new to the organisation and Andy had been here several years before myself. And as the executive leadership team of the organisation, we understood enough of culture to appreciate that regardless of whether or not we did anything about our culture, we would have a culture. And whilst we recognised it was fairly good, we were very conscious that we wanted to take it to a higher level. And I think it's been very, very successful for us in the last 10 or 11 years.
I was lucky enough to work with someone who'd done some work, to work within a team that had been specifically working on how we did what we do, not just what we did. And I got personal growth and benefit out of that. And I saw the success of that team and what that team was capable of doing post-doing and initiating a conversation around culture, not just what we did. And so I was lucky enough to experience a change and see the benefit firsthand of what could be accomplished by not just talking about finances and I guess procedures and activity and tasks, but also talking about how do we as human beings collaborate to achieve common goals.
I think it's also fair to say that back in 2003 we'd had a long history of doing things quite well, and I think we had very clearly been living a vision, but we never actually articulated what our vision was. And once we put those words around it and agreed on what they were and had that endorsed by our board of directors, as a not-for-profit organisation, it became very clear what we had to do.
We also spent a lot of time around that time exploring values for the organisation, and there was a lot of conversation regarding values. You can easily identify if you know that there's values in an organisation that sit with your own and on a foundation of your own beliefs. There's a real ability to be able to then attract people who are like-minded and who share the same beliefs. And as a leader, you're able to be a lot more effective in your leadership, but you're also you feel like you're more part of the organisation because you have shared values. And I truly believe that the leadership team spending time identifying what the values of the organisation are has really been the foundation and the rock which has steadied us through the good and the bad times in relation to organisational growth.
I think one of the most interesting things that I've learned along the way is that I'm not the only person with voices in my head, and that's been really reassuring. Because you often second guess yourself, you wonder whether or not you're making the right decisions, and part of the learning for us along the way was that it's okay to be like that. You know, and none of us are the font of all knowledge, which is part of, I suppose, how I decided that I wanted the organisation to look and feel when I became the CEO. No one person has all the answers, no one person knows everything, and collectively we are much stronger and much better than as individuals. I know that I'm a better person. Well, I think that I'm a better person. Others would have to judge that, but I think I'm a better person. I'm sure I'm a better leader and therefore a better CEO, but I also believe I'm probably a better father and a better husband and a better son than what I was 10 or 11 years ago, because I'm much more conscious and much more tuned into how I'm doing things and how I'm showing up as opposed to what I'm doing.
Some people refer to cultural change or transformation as a cultural journey. I guess from what Paul's saying, I tend to view it more of a pilgrimage, because I don't know about you guys, but every time you move through the transformation, it's actually asking more questions than giving your answers, and that opens up, once again, based with the foundation of strong values in an organisation, it opens up discussion and conversation rather than just communication. So you're actually creating all the time. As an individual, you're growing and you're creating yourself as a better leader, and the organisation itself is growing and creating. And it's more than a journey, because in a way a journey can have an end point, whereas it's more of a path in which people, all being well, become enlightened and can see that there's different ways of doing things and all contribute to the team and to the organisation.
We put a lot of, I think certainly a lot of time into the systems as well. It's taken a few years, and I've got to say, you know, even now there's still a couple that we're still adjusting even 10 years on, to make sure that the system or the procedure or the activity of how how we were doing things actually reinforced our culture or our values or how we want things done. Today, we move at the pace we move at because of the 10 years of personal relationships that have been built, the strength in the ability in how we deal with one another, our expectation, the clarity of what we can expect from one another. That allows us to just move at a pace that we just would not be able to do if there wasn't that, I guess, that clarity individually and as a team of what we could do. We leverage the relationships to achieve our results. We know that we've got each other's back, and I think that's an incredible, powerful thing.
And then that's because our whole team has alignment with our vision, which is our why, and aligned also with our values. So that's the heart and soul of our organisation, and you can't copy that.